Hey folks, wanted to see if I could help other people out with this situation that I found myself in a little bit ago. In fact, it's my thing is still draining here. I solved this problem, but I want to show you how I did it. I didn't think this was going to work, but it actually did. So I was repairing this Moen faucet, and that's the Posi-Temp Cartridge. And I didn't want to buy the tool. It was over $20, and I thought, well, I can just pull it out with my pliers by putting my channel locks, which are down there, onto the stem. And I also used my vice grips to pull on that stem. And when I did, the stem broke off, but not before I was able to get that thing wedged out a little bit. And that turned out to be pretty important. Although I can see by looking carefully at the brass fitting, it's not critical, but it was helpful. So this thing is still draining a little bit. So why is my faucet draining right now? The water is off, but I have a bladder in the garage that relieves pressure for the hot water. So hot water is still dripping out a little bit, I think because of that water pressure bladder. So it's still draining a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna take this off in a second. Okay, yeah, and I'm gonna show you what happens. So here it is, pushing this thing back in a little bit. Okay, so here it is, I'm stuck. The stem broke off, and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do now? You can see my hair dryer I was using to heat this thing up. I thought that might help get this thing loose, but it didn't, apparently. But what did work is I actually went on YouTube and I saw that some of the folks were doing all kinds of creative things, you know, drilling in holes to what's left, tearing pieces out with needle nose pliers, etc. But I didn't want to do that if I could help it. But what I noticed is that a lot of the videos showed folks kind of working this thing back and forth. So this does twist like this. And I was able to get barely able to get the needle, the tips of this wrench, because this thing was wedged in here. I'll show you what it was like that. It was barely out. So I barely got this thing on there, and I was able to twist it 90 degrees. And then I went back and forth slowly. And as I did that, I was able to start to pull this thing out slowly, just like that. And it just slowly worked its way out. But the key was this twisting. I did it in a clockwise manner first. I was able to get about 90 degrees, and then I came back and forth. So what I was doing before, which is wrong, I'll never do this again, is I was just pulling straight out. And you kind of do need to work that straight out at first to get it out of this little, see that groove in there? Because you wouldn't be able to twist it much, but you might be able to twist it a little bit if it were all the way in there. So you do need to get it out a little bit so you can start working it side to side. So it's the twisting motion that's critical here, the twisting motion. Don't be afraid to twist it. I was afraid to twist it. I thought I might break it. All right, now here's the other thing I noticed. When I got it out, I noticed a little part of that, and I think that's it down there. Just a tiny piece of that gasket had broken off, and I think that may have been making this thing harder. And yes, I did use the silicone lubricant that they provided, or whatever it is, lubricant that they provide in the package. I don't think it's silicone, but whatever it was. I did use that when I installed it. I used the official Moen lubricant. So it was lubricated when I put it in. And again, I'm removing this now Key is twisting, folks. I got it out. Now I'm gonna clean that out a little bit gently and then replace it. And there are plenty of videos on how to replace the cartridge once you got it at this stage. But for me, the issue was what happens if it's stuck in there and the stem is broken off. So glad this worked out okay. And good luck to you guys. Hope you have as good luck as I did, at least in the second half of this. Take care.